The change from laughingstock to genuine threat once again has been remarkable to watch at Barcelona this season. One minute they're struggling under Koeman, and in the next they're thriving under Xavi. While much credit must be given to the work being done behind the scenes from the likes of Laporta and misterE, as far as the first team goes, Xavi is Barcelona's past, while together with Pedri, he's also their present and future. Hey, I'm Adrian and welcome to Rabona TV. If you find yourself liking the content during this video, then do consider dropping a like for us or even subscribing. And before we get to how integral Xavi and Pedri are to this Barca project, we got to thank our sponsors once again, as OneFootball have come in clutch, just like Xavi did to save Barca. With OneFootball, you can stay in the know on all of the teams, players, and competitions that mean the most to you by simply following them in the app, and watch your homepage get packed with all of the latest news. On top of that, you can relive the action of matches you caught or take in the highlights of matches you missed. Listen to interviews, in-depth behind-the-scenes footage, track the transfers of potential signings for the club you support, and even watch matches live right inside the app. To get access to all of this for free, just use the link in the description or scan this QR code and you will be well on your way. Thank you to anyone who checks it out. It's a great product and one that has been helping this channel grow since 2018. Absolute saints. All right, guys, to Xavi. Perhaps one of the patron saints of Barcelona. Xavi took over in early November and has been in charge for 28 matches. In that time, Barcelona have lost 4, 2 of which came in the Spanish Super Cup, both in extra time as well, once in La Liga and once in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. Other than that, a spotless record. He hasn't lost a La Liga match since December 4th against Real Betis. That was 15 matches ago, where Barcelona has since gone undefeated in 14 matches, the longest unbeaten streak in La Liga by 8. And have won 6 matches on the trot, including that massive victory over Real Madrid, in which they baptized them at the Bernabeu 4-0, Barcelona's first win in El Clasico since 2019, and that's quite the embarrassing record, or previously embarrassing record, that Barcelona were holding against their rivals. But as for Xavi's approach as a manager, one of the things that I find the most remarkable about what Xavi has done, beyond the results of course, is that the style of play has been a little bit surprising and impressive how he has adapted. For example, I found that Aubameyang was a bit of a surprising signing based off of the fact that Xavi himself had said this about him in the past. Quote, "Aubameyang can kill you in open space, but Barcelona need players who know how to move in small spaces." Quotes like this would lead us to believe that Xavi would be employing tactics that were reminiscent of the golden era at Barcelona under Pep Guardiola, of which he took part in. Quick, intricate passes, basically playing a rondo around their opponents. But like I said, it's all the more impressive how Xavi has adapted his tactics to the players that he has available to him in order to get the best out of them. The big thing is the overlapping runs from midfielders, the 2 more advanced midfielders, that is, of the midfield 3, as they join the front 3 to make it sort of a front 5 when Barcelona is attacking, often making overlapping runs when the striker drops short or simply to combine with the attackers. As far as the fullbacks go, there are absolutely some similarities to how Guardiola utilizes his fullbacks, and that they roam inside to help out Busquets or whomever may be playing as the central defensive midfielder, working as inverted fullbacks. Remember all of the noise surrounding João Cancelo, how he would almost look like a central midfielder positionally when City was in possession of the ball? It's not an exact replica of that Xavi is using, but it is definitely similar. That's not to say that fullbacks don't go forward in the wide areas to overlap, because they will do so when Barca have possession in advanced areas, but when they are building from the back and midfield areas, the fullbacks tend to tuck inside. Just take a look at this excellent graphic from DatoBHJ on Twitter. I've linked to him below, so give him a follow for more graphical excellence like this, but you can see how far inside Dani Alves would roam to distribute the ball and link up with Busquets against Atletico Madrid from the beginning of February. It's not the tiki-taka of old, but it's still incredibly fun to watch Barcelona play these days, which is something that couldn't be said for a few years, bar some brilliance from Messi, which is always nice to watch. Another thing that is slightly more surprising is how the wingers are used, with guys like Dembele shining thanks to their ability to dribble opponents and how often they cross the ball. Whether this was by design and sought out, or it was once again Xavi just adapting to what he had at his disposal, the early success of Adama Traore led to Ousmane Dembele, despite the club saying that he should leave, etc., etc. We won't go through that incredible mess and backtracking that threw all of us for a leap. Matteo Alemany made things very complicated. But yes, with Traore arriving and providing plenty of pace and the ability to not only beat players in a 1v1 situation, but also whip in a cross, you swap him out with Dembele once the media hysteria had died down a bit, and Barca's attack looks fantastic. Different from what we would have expected, and those expectations dictated the questioning of, do these signings fit based on what Xavi has said of what Barca needs and based on how he explained his previous tactics? But like any good manager, he has adapted to what he has at his disposal, as opposed to just stubbornly going forward with what tactics he knows and then complaining about not having the right or good enough players to execute their tactics. This is a Barcelona that counterattacks incredibly quickly and crosses the ball into the box often. It's different from the Barca of old, but it's still very enjoyable to watch. There also seems to be a major culture shift at the club, a major turn toward more professionalism, with the stricter rules that Xavi has put into place for the players to follow, all in the name of promoting professionalism and an increased team spirit. It hasn't been a full season yet, of course, so there's plenty of time for it to all go wrong in the eyes of the cynics. But certainly, the signs are pointing toward Barcelona being in very good hands under Xavi. Speaking of being in good hands, Barcelona's midfield from that golden era was a massive part of their success. Not just theirs, but Spain's as well, as you'll remember. While Iniesta managed to remain an important piece of Barcelona's midfield until as recently as 2018, the midfield that followed was a shadow of what it once was under the care of Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets. I know, comparing any midfield trio to one of the best trios of all time is a bit of a slanted argument, but still, Barca's midfield saw players like Vidal and Artur pass through with the stern task of revitalizing that position. That's a very tough ask. With the De Jong signing, Frankie that is, things started to move in the right direction for Barcelona, but a relatively under-the-radar signing in the summer of 2020 has proven to be a masterstroke from Barcelona. However, the signing of Pedri from Las Palmas was actually finalized in September of 2019, with a fee of €5 million for the then 16-year-old Canary Islands native being enough to prize him away. However, that fee would rise closer to $20 million as Pedri reached various objectives in his contract. Oh, how that fee looks ridiculous now in hindsight, no? It's like being one of the first people to buy Bitcoin back in the day, but selling it when it reached $16 a coin or something like that. That's a bad metaphor, and bad metaphor aside, this is looking like a masterstroke by the previous Barcelona regime, whom won't at all be remembered for their transfer dealings. To use this transfer market value as a reference point, in about a season and a half, Pedri's value has skyrocketed up to €80 million, 4 times what Barcelona ultimately paid with all of the add-ons. What helped this greatly was not just that Ronald Koeman believed in him and saw him as an integral piece of Barcelona's midfield, but Luis Enrique did as well, as he brought the 18-year-old to the Euro 2020 tournament in 2021, and it wasn't done there for Pedri, as he was then selected to join Spain's Olympic squad, and in all, Pedri played 73 matches for club and country in the 2020-21 season. If that doesn't speak to belief in the player at such a young age, then I don't know what does. Part of the reason as to why Pedri fits in so well at Barcelona comes down to his playing style, as he is the perfect heir to the midfield of old that dominated for Barcelona for so many years. Speaking to Dermot Corrigan of The Athletic back in 2020, Pedri's former youth coach from Tegueste said, quote, "It is very easy to say it now, but the people who know me know that it's true. When Pedri was 9 years old, he reminded me of Iniesta. I always say that the first time I saw him, I knew he had something special. His way of playing, everything very simple but very important at the same time. He was not looking to nutmeg people or do lots of stepovers, just the simple thing and the right thing. He was just different. The way he saw football, understood the game, found spaces nobody else could, the maturity he had compared to his teammates." Something that has perhaps changed a little bit since Delgado was coaching a 9-year-old Pedri is that in this season especially, he has shown that he is absolutely capable of the odd nutmeg with his back to his opponent. He's capable of flashily embarrassing his opponent, but for the most part, he offers intelligence in his passing, an ability to dribble his opponent in one-on-one situations, and a supreme understanding for the game. While he didn't come through La Masia, his grandfather had actually founded the Peña Barcelonista de Tenerife Tegueste, or the Barcelona Supporters Club on Tenerife. Pedri's father still runs the club back in his hometown, so Barcelona has always been very close to his heart. He's always been one of the smaller players on the pitch, thanks in part to how he has consistently played far above his own age group, featuring with under 18s when he was just 14. And now he takes control of the midfield against players that often have a full decade on him age-wise. The fact that he barely needed any time to adapt at Barcelona is certainly remarkable. You can't say that for everyone who's signed there. Still just 17, he was a natural fit in their midfield, and now he's established himself as a mainstay in Xavi's plans following his return from that lengthy hamstring injury that sidelined him from the end of September all the way to January. That is a consequence of 73 matches. Ferocious in the press, he ranks in the 97th percentile amongst players of his same position in the top 5 leagues when it comes to the pressures per 90. He also ranks in the 95th percentile for progressive carries and in the 97th percentile for goal-creating actions per 90, mostly derived from his dribbling ability. He also ranks well when it comes to passes into the penalty area and passes completed while being pressured. He's a cool head in the midfield with a superb ability to wriggle away from opponents and play a pass. A cool head in spite of his age. Xavi and Nico are also looking like fantastic talents that Barcelona will be able to rely upon for years to come. Frankie de Jong, well, he had some rough patches this season. He's one of my personal favorite midfielders to watch when he's on song, of course. And he too is turning the corner under Xavi. That Xavi effect is simply ridiculous, no? Of course, there are other players that you could list as potentially being incredibly important to Barcelona and the future of Barcelona, such as someone like Ronald Araujo, as it looks like he may be re-signing with them soon. Xavi has shown ridiculous potential, and should he stay at the club, stay healthy, and continues on this trajectory, Ousmane Dembele could also be not only integral to Barcelona, but he exhibits the ability to be one of the best players in the world in the very near future. But in my personal opinion, Xavi and Pedri are two of the cornerstones that I look to when I think of Barcelona turning their fortunes around and having these two cornerstones at the heart of their project going forward. With the ability Pedri has shown, with how comfortable he looks on the ball, with how he oozes that La Masia DNA without even being from La Masia, he looks like an incredible player. I mean, we forget that he's just 19. We forget that he will be turning just 20 years old in November of 2022, while Spain will be at the World Cup. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then do subscribe and drop a like if you don't mind. It's free of charge, I promise you. I'm Adrian, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week. Take care.